Well, hello again. We are already getting into March, marching into March here in Disillusionism, and we're going to speak again about the topic of the week, which will be introduced by Professor Marchetti.
Hello, Muki. Hello, everyone. Yes, as everyone knows already, I guess, in this channel, we are exploring Muki Tenenbaum's philosophy. We are going about his concepts, his disillusionism, his nostalgic theory about human behavior. And week after week, for a while now, we've been trying to analyze the news, whatever it is that happens and that draws our attention in the world, not from a journalistic point of view, but as philosophers would, and in a way, trying to find examples that illustrate this line of thought. We are going to speak about numbers today. We are going to use a landmark that has just been reached and widely publicized around the world. 500,000 people have died already in the United States as a result of the ongoing crisis, the current pandemic. But of course, this is not the first time news are made around a big number, a huge round number like 500,000. But we will use this bit of news to try and understand what is it that happens to human beings, emotionally even, with numbers and with this particular kind of numbers.
Well, as you say, the fact that we're talking about 500,000, which again, it's different from 500,000, yes? It's even have a different sound, 500,000, it's already 500,000. But when you are giving a number in which is a round number, there is a moment of in which everybody is like, wow, we reached that number. Now, if that number would have been 499,999, still would be an interesting number because it's one short of the 500,000. Now, if we already go into a number like 483,234, that is nothing. That's just a number. Now, people would say to you, "This is just a number, Florencio. This is what we're talking about." But when you're talking about 500,000, you know, even there was even a speech on the television about it, and every time they reach a number like this in every country, there is a moment of sobriety, of seriousness, of there is a feeling of being solemnity. Yes, everything is very solemn. The number is solemn. It's more than another number. And the issue of numbers has been. I can give you examples where numbers also will attract our attention, like a palindrome, a number that you can read from either side. Yes, and it's the same number. Again, a number that will be an almost number, 9999999, yes, will be probably another number. But we have, it's all a question of attention grabbing, yes? They grab our attention, but the question is why? Again, why people have, for example, they have a favorite number. I mean, why a person will have a favorite number? I remind everybody here that, of course, as any disillusionist and any pragmatic person, a number is just a way to count. Sometimes to count and sometimes to put in order. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so forth. What do you say about this, Florencio?
No, I'm thinking that, of course, there is the matter of attention and how it is that certain numbers draw our attention and others apparently do not. But there are also, I think, connected issues that you have discussed in this channel, but I would like to go back to them if we can, that have to do not only with attention, but also with emotion and with memory. And I think there is a triangle there with what draws our attention, what brings forth in us an emotion, and what is it that is committed to memory. That maybe this huge, impressive 500,000, 500,000 deaths or even, as you said, just curious numbers, peculiar numbers, have a way of eliciting not only a focus in attention, but also emotions and memories.
Yes, well, as you say, when you have, what do we normally remember from our life? We remember things with a high emotional input. The higher the emotional, the emotional, the emotion that it elicited from us, was elicited from us by a certain event. Let's say my daughter was born. I remember every moment of that birth. So I think, because you don't know what you don't remember, of course. It's always very funny. It says, I know, I remember. No, I would have remembered, I would have remembered how I would have been. What do you know what you would remember? But it's true that when my daughter was born, I have very clear images because it was a very strong emotional event. And that means that when I want to recall them, sometimes I recall the event and then the emotion comes back. Sometimes I have an emotion, it reminds me, it feels like when my daughter was born. Yes, you will put together. Now, with numbers, we remember numbers and it's data. Remember, this is not an event. So numbers should not have an emotional, you don't remember number because they are emotionally charged, yes? So I can tell you that in the world there is almost 8 billion people. Is there an emotional charge to that number? No, absolutely not. Not to me, but at least not to the great majority of people. But I remember because that's that data memory. But it's clear that it's easier to me to remember that it's 8 billion because it's easier because the zeros, yes, it repeats itself. 999 will be the same, will be the same thing, and maybe even 555 will do the trick. But I would remember a number because it's easy to remember. Now, what happens is that it goes the other way around. When I remember a number, does it bring an emotion? The answer is maybe, because we are accustomed to relate memory and emotion, and the numbers, which should be on the data part of the memory, are jumping into the day-to-day, the memory of our day-to-day life. Remember that we don't remember anything that when we are sleepwalking. Yes, when when we travel in that inertial mode in life, full with habits. Yes, when you fast forward your life, that at that time the memory doesn't really work, and nothing works because there is no emotion, and there is no emotion, and there is no suffering. All this happens during that, and when we sleep, same thing. How hard is to remember a dream? No, that's also. But here with the numbers, and I want to go, and the relation with numbers is very old. We know that numbers had to do with religion in ancient Greece. And that religion also has to do with superstition. So in the West, the number 13 is a bad luck number. Unless you are Jewish, then it's a good luck number. That's, but then you have the 7 number, which is very important. Number 3 is very important. But look, the 13 number that has bad luck, all the ideas of bad luck, there is an interesting story. During the Apollo, the Apollo series, all the
space program.
The space program, on the space program, yes. The Apollo 13, we all remember what happened to them, yes? Now, Apollo 13, the scientists decided to finish with, that's it. We will never have again an issue of bad luck. So the Apollo 13 came out on a 13 and left at 13 and 13. And it was the Apollo 13, and he barely came back. So, if what they wanted to do to show that it doesn't work, well, it was not a 9 point. And I will tell you another thing. In China, the lucky number, because between us, lucky number, probably I have a lucky number, you have a lucky number, everybody has a lucky number. I don't have a lucky number, but people have lucky numbers. Yes, but in China there is one lucky number, and it's number 8. 8 is so lucky, you don't know how lucky is 8. 8 is incredible. 8 is really marvelous. And when the cell phones came to be, the number 888 was sold by $1 million. A person paid $1 million to have that number. So, They put their money where their mouth is, no?
I think you said at least what I think is an interesting hypothesis. But we all agree that emotionally charged stuff is easier to remember. Maybe the opposite is also true, that easy to remember stuff becomes emotionally charged. But since you are discussing China and ancient Greece, I have what I think is a strong question to ask you. Do you think this fixation, this obsession with numbers that we share is natural to human beings, or is it a cultural addition?
I don't have a doubt it's a cultural addition. I mean, but I can give you an example. In the Amazon, there is a tribe that when they count one, too many. End of story. And when somebody asks them, but how many children do you have? Says, I don't know. But you don't know how many children you have? No. Why do I need to know how many children I have? What the number 3 or 5 or 18 or 6 will change anything. There is a bunch of things that they have to feed. And they will probably divide it among them. And whatever, that's it. End of story. So you even have tribes that do not even have it, the numbers. So it's 100% cultural. But you know, it goes much beyond this. This is we measure everything, Florencio. I'll give you an example. I am 6'1.5". That's what I was told. You're not 6'1", you're not 6'2", you're 6'1.5". Yes, 189 centimeters to those who use the metric system. And does it change anything about me? I mean, do I, as Mookie, feel different because I'm 89 centimeters instead of 184 or 192? And I know that number. Do I know my birthday? Yes. Do you know your birthday? Of course. Do I know your birthday also? It's a number, but the number, it's 4th, March 4th. March 4th is the birthday of this and that. It's very different. And the numbers, the numbers play in all these measurements. We measure time. Yes, we measure 10 seconds. Yes, when we talk about the Olympics, you remember during the Mexico Olympics, I think or the one after that, they broke the 10 seconds mark, the running 100 meters. 100 meters, they were under 10. It was incredible. That's it. Nobody, human beings, they say, cannot go below 10 seconds, which is a total crazy thing because seconds do not exist and 10 does not exist. Seconds is something that we count, that we have agreed to count in a certain form. Yes, there is in physics, you could find the second, I think, has to do with the decay of cesium, but I don't think anybody is here into the decay of cesium. But so seconds is artificial, 10 is artificial, and we're talking about somebody running. So why 10 seconds will be the limit?
And 100 meters is also
yes, and 100, of course, 100 meters. But the 100 meters allow you to compare everybody. But you cannot go under 10 seconds. Why? Why would you think that exactly that number will be the? But that's what they said.
Yeah, but I think the interesting point you are making is that there are times in which precision and numbers have practical consequences. And if we were discussing simple things like the shoe sizes, then precision and numbers would matter, and I wouldn't want the wrong number when it comes to shoes. But apparently we go far beyond that, and we become fascinated with numbers that have no practical value. Just as you said, our exact height, and we, for some reason, enjoy. I don't know, is it that we enjoy knowing that, or is it that we would be unable to sleepwalk and we would suffer if we didn't know that?
I'm not sure. The fact is that everybody knows their birthday. I mean, have you ever met a person who doesn't know their birthday? Well, my grandfather, but because at the time they didn't,
no, but
they didn't write down
those
anything.
are accidents, yes.
Yes, but in nowadays, somebody who Is there somebody who doesn't know their height? Come on, everybody knows their height. Is there a weight? Well, in my case, weight goes up and down. You can see this since June last year. You could see that I change weight, but you have an idea on your weight. But why is it important? Unless you go into Disney and you're a child and you cannot go to the games unless you have a certain height. It's irrelevant. It doesn't, but we know it. And if we don't know it, everybody says, you don't know. What do you mean you don't know your birthday? I don't remember. I forgot. Have you ever somebody? I forgot my birthday. We talked about birthday, and this is not a video about birthday, about the crazy thing about my birthday, the whole birthday festival, but the whole measurement festival, the mania, the taxomania, the way to taxo when I mean to measure that measurement, everything is measured. They even measure there is a number of angels if you speak to people who are expert in angels. Yes, of course there is a numbers in everything, and again I remind you, for instance, that all of us went to school. The people who are watching this video, all of us went to school, and in school math should have been a very small thing. I mean, in my generation, maybe after my generation, when you have a calculator, math should be something that should take one year to explain you a little bit, and then the rest use the machine. Yes, and that's it. No, it's very good to think, and thinking nothing. But they gave it so much importance. They put it. It's so important, math, that you are then it's like you are in awe in front of it. Yes, the awe. The numbers to many people are awe. Yes, AWE. Yes, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the word in English correctly.
But I think it's even the other way around with the advent of computers and personal computers and portable computers, and we all have now a computer on ourselves. I'd say 24/7 with the smartphones and stuff. Not only did we not forget about numbers, we became even more obsessed with them, didn't we? I keep track of the minutes remaining for my arrival at any place, thanks to Google Maps. And of course, I don't need a minute by minute precision, that sort of countdown, but that's become a part of my life nowadays. And I think examples like this, I know right now that the smartphone battery has a 16% remaining, not 1/5, not 1/2, 16%. There's craziness about this also.
But maybe, we're seeing a self-feeding circle in which we get more anxious, so we want more accuracy. The more accuracy we get, the more anxious we get. The more accuracy we get, the more anxious we get. we used to have, to download to download everything, it takes 16 hours and 3 minutes. You used to say that 60 minutes, 16 hours and 2 minutes and 59. 60 hours. You really, I mean, countdowns. The whole concept of a countdown, okay, which is it comes from the British rowing competition.
I didn't know that.
Yes, countdown began there in Cambridge, where they used to have. That was the only way to ensure that nobody started first. Of course, that was taken to every movie where there is suspense. There is a countdown. Okay, so look, emotion. We were talking about numbers and emotion. But it's a countdown, yes? It's not, well, there is a little bit less. No. When we're watching football, we know, how many times we saw a game in which in the last 5 minutes, people start running like crazy in a soccer match. Like crazy. Why the last 5 minutes? Nobody knows. But it's the last 5 minutes, from the minute 40 to the minute 45. And then how many minutes they will add at the end? And everything is counted. So I said, maybe the anxiety loop in which we are in which we are living in, that anxiety is taking. And then there is the numbers that have to do that come instead of letters. Yes, all the variants. Yes, B11552. But then when they say, because the numbers are not, they're not memorable, the numbers. How do you memorable the mutation K48, K484? I'm talking, there is a mutation, but K4. No, the British variant, the Chinese variant, and then everybody was angry. It's not British. I was discovered in Britain. You should not call it the British. See, and they keep trying to push the numbers, and the numbers are a problem. Numbers sometimes compete with letters, and they are not doing that well because you see, it's easier to remember an acronym than a number that is not 1,000 or 300.
Well, I think for a change, we have more questions than answers in this, more problems and solutions in this topic of the week, but it's been interesting nevertheless. We'll go back to numbers in the next videos and we can count the days before our next encounter. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
If you enjoyed the video, please like it, comment and subscribe.